finding somewhere to juggle was actually a lot harder than I thought, so I'm going to go and have a look in another shed. But first I'm going to give Meg a stroke. Stroke of the dog. I'm going to go and find somewhere I can actually juggle and be seen. It's kind of important. Okay, so here's my next the cows won't let me talk. Here was my next option for juggling, because I thought, well, it's another big dry shed, but unfortunately the lighting is a bit dim, so no. But there are calves to meet. Ugh. Anyway, as well as calves, we have Felix, a very old dog. Doesn't very much like having a camera poked in his face. Anyway, enough of that. Another place, another failed juggling opportunity, discovery thing. So back it is to my bedroom, I think. Well, I don't know what you could see out there, but anyway, I'm now inside and I've waited for the next day because the lights in here aren't really good enough to film in the evening. So firstly, quick tour. We have a chair, a lot more chairs, some fruit, pool table, highly important. Looks like you have to pay money for it. Hope you don't. Hacked the pub pool table. We have bookshelf, another bookshelf, and the dartboard. Here we go. Here is my tutorial on a 3-ball shower. 3-ball shower looks like this, or the other way around, which I'm not quite as good at, but I'm getting there. This is a trick that a lot of people think of when they think of juggling for the first time before they know what to do, but I would not recommend learning this first. If you're going to learn juggling, first trick you want to learn is probably the cascade, which is much easier to get good at to start with. But when you're ready, the shower isn't that hard really, and if you're fairly confident juggling 3 balls in the cascade, you should be able to learn the shower quite comfortably. Okay, so to start off, you're probably going to want to work out which way your shower's going. For a lot of people this is kind of natural. For me, this way. But yeah, just try both ways and see what feels comfortable. Most people end up throwing the higher throw out of their best hand, so this is my best hand. Work that out, and then you're ready to practice. Practice the motions just with 1 ball. Throw along the bottom is going to be quite a forceful throw, or quite direct. It doesn't have to be that forceful, but we're not doing a little kind of throw like that. It's going straight along. And you want to try and keep your hands roughly shoulder width apart, depending on how wide your shoulders are or whatever, but roughly kind of this far apart, so you're not doing this here. If you do the throw quite small, when you get to 3 balls, it's quite tight, so you have to be quite accurate with your higher throws. Keep the balls wider, and then we're going kind of much easier. Okay, so 1 ball, get your motion comfortable. Okay, when you've got that, pick up a 2nd ball. You're just going to start off, first exercise, just throw the 2 balls up. Both out of your best hand probably, or in the direction that you're going round. Get that comfortable. When you've got this comfortable, 1 ball in each hand, I'm just going to throw roughly at the same time, like that. 1 along the bottom and 1 up. You can throw at different times when you're doing the pattern with 3 balls. With the shower, you can throw in 2 different ways, kind of, and they're both quite similar. But the first way involves throwing each ball kind of individually. Second way, you're throwing the 2 balls on the bottom at roughly the same time, so your hands are kind of moving. In sync as you throw. This is kind of a better technique to learn, I think, if you possibly can. If you can only learn it that way, that's okay, but much better if you can to learn like this. So to do this, we're just going to practice with 2 balls, just like that. Get that comfortable. The thing with doing this, if you can get that comfortable, you can basically, you're most of the way to learning your shower. So this might seem quite hard to start with, but persevere, and we'll get there. Okay, so when you're ready to pick up 3 balls, 2 balls in your best hand, 1 in your worst hand, just throw 1 out in your best hand, and then throw what we were doing with 2 balls. And catch. You want to start practice with relatively high throws just to give yourself more time. When you get a bit faster, you can do that kind of thing, but it's much harder to learn. So we're just going to do, when you're comfortable with this, add an extra set of throws in, and then keep going. When you can. Remember, this is a relatively hard trick for 3 ball juggling, so it might take a while to get it comfortable. A lot of people can do it, but they have issues where they're not, their technique's kind of off. It's much better to learn it the right way first time. Okay, so some problems you might see and how to try and avoid them. One is when people catch the ball passing on the bottom in a kind of claw shape. Try to avoid this as best you can, and just practice, go back to practicing with 1 ball. And then pick up your other balls, pick up and then back to 2 balls. And just make sure you're catching the ball along the bottom like this and throwing it up. When you're comfortable with the trick out of your best hand, or whichever way feels comfortable. If you want, you can learn it out of your other hand. Again, all the steps are the same. You might find it much less intuitive, so just keep practicing the basics. I find it hard throwing my worst hand in this pattern, so just keep on hammering the technique. And really, you don't have to learn it this way. This is only if you want to. All right. So hopefully you can learn the 3 ball shower. Remember to pat yourself on the back. Anything you do there. And I've just got a delivery, so I shall be back in a moment. Okay. So what I thought I'd show you at the end of this video is not to do with balls. Actually, I found my old juggling clubs under my bed at home, which are rattling and horrible, but they still juggle. So I'm going to do a little bit of 3 club juggling. Haven't done any for ages, so don't judge me. And I will be doing some videos in the future on how to juggle clubs and other stuff. But here goes. Can do better than that. What attempts? First attempt that was. Unfortunately, I'm actually far worse at juggling clubs than I remembered, so you'll probably see more of that over the next few weeks. And anyway, I hope you have learned something in this video. If you have, please let me know in the comments. And I'll hopefully see you again in the future. Maybe.